So if you've noticed that games are getting shorter in length and they're no longer as extensive as you thought they were, well, you're not imagining things. And even the ex-Sony CEO says the same thing, and he says that it should be trending that way. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video, because the future of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X depend on this. Alrighty, so do you guys prefer shorter or longer stories in games? I don't know, it really depends, it's your preference, and it really is a complicated question, so let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, g'day guys, my name's Champ, and if you guys have enjoyed today's video, please smack the like button real good. And now we're talking about something very, very interesting. It's about the length of future games, and even games right now, compared to what we used to have. We're getting some information from the former CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and that is Shawn Layden. And he, if you're wondering, stepped down last year in September, so 2019 September. As of then, he is no longer the CEO of Sony, had nothing to do with his performance or anything, it was just a restructuring of the brand. But last week, he actually came out with a controversial opinion regarding the length of games and the future of the length of games. Now, I didn't touch on this news right away because I was waiting to see what everyone thought of The Last of Us 2. I was waiting to see where this news would go, and it actually has made some headlines, so we are actually diving deep into what Shawn Layden had to say. Now, to basically put it out there, he said that games should be shorter, and that is in itself a pretty controversial statement, especially someone who's had quite an influence on the path that Sony has taken to this point right now to the PlayStation 5, since he was in charge all the way until last year. So he had a very, very big say in the production of the PlayStation, the direction, and even the games that are exclusive to the PlayStation brand. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons in both camps of shorter or longer games, and especially when it comes to shorter games, that's what we're talking about right now, there's definitely a lot of pros and cons. You do definitely get a more refined experience with those shorter games, and it costs less for the development studios to make those. And on top of that, players are going to be buying more games, which is going to make them more money. So that's a pro right there, but it also means you're going to get a whole lot of range of experiences because you won't be sitting on the same game for 60 or 100 hours, but rather around that 20-hour mark. Now, really quickly, just to butt in here, I haven't played The Last of Us 2 myself. As you guys know, I've been recovering from hand surgery from my fingers. I still can't bend properly, so that's my maximum. But I asked you guys on Twitter, just a few of you, how you went along with The Last of Us 2 and what your experience was and how many hours it took you. And it seems that most of you guys are saying around that 20 to 25 hour mark seems to be the sweet spot, and 23 hours seems to be the average. Some people took longer, some people were quicker that just went straight through the game. But if you compare this to a game, well, The Last of Us 1, the first game, you're going to see that that game was an average of 29 to 31 hours for most people out there back then when the game came out. But in comparison, when you do look at the new game, The Last of Us 2, it is a few hours shorter on average, about 6 hours shorter. So they have packed in a lot more detail, they do refine the game quite a lot more, give you more bang for your buck in that short amount of time, but you're getting a shorter game. So a lot of people are slightly upset that games are shorter these days, but when you do really take a look at it, you're getting a whole lot more of a world in that game. So when you do go into that 30-hour or less, 20-hour experience, you're getting everything refined perfectly. And that is a pretty big pro right there, even though you're not going to be sitting there doing side quests and whatnot for an extra 30 to 50 hours. And ever since Shawn Layden said this, there have been a good few points out there. For example, No Man's Sky and Destiny 2, they just, it's a strange one because you've got these huge worlds and so many possibilities, but they feel like they're just empty, and they're just these huge worlds for really no reason. And I can see where that's coming from. Now, obviously, some games out there are going to be longer and more extensive together. You're gonna get the GTA 5s, the Skyrims and whatnot. You're gonna get these amazing, even Red Dead Redemption 2, you're gonna get these amazing games. But the problem with that is you're gonna be waiting 7, 8, 9, 10 years sometimes for the next installment for that franchise. Look at Grand Theft Auto, or even look at Skyrim and what Bethesda have been doing, just re-releasing it. It's the same sort of idea because they put so much time and money into these games that sometimes it just doesn't have a payoff for the company itself, and that really does make sense. Something else I want to bring up is there's an old adage known as dollar per hour. So you're paying that US $60 price and you should get 60 hours back. Now, you can get that depending on what game you play, but it's not always going to happen. But what can happen is sometimes you're going to buy a game for 30 bucks, you're going to get 100 hours from it. Sometimes you're going to buy a game for 60 bucks or 100 bucks, whatever the price is, and you're only going to get 20, 25, 30 hours. And that's just the reality that we live in. But it does look like a trend, especially if you do take a look at PlayStation exclusives over the years, getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And Microsoft are doing pretty much the same thing. Nintendo are sort of doing that, but in a very different way and adding so many different side quests and puzzles. And this does happen with PlayStation, Xbox, and even PC games. But it's interesting to see this sort of go this way. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you prefer shorter or longer games, or just a game that's just perfect and right, where it's like it is what it is? Because at the end of the day, personally, I would rather just have a game that works, that's finished and put together, and I'm going to play it for that amount of time, and whatever it is, give me the best experience in that amount of time. So yeah, let me know what you guys think regarding all this. It's a very controversial topic because it could change the way that we do play games in the future and the way that we consume these games in this form of media. It's very, very different to if you've been watching movies for decades. It's been about 100 years since cinema was really blowing up, and it's always been that 90 minutes to 2.5 hours, and that's what it is, and you pay your $5, $10, $20, whatever it is for a movie. But with games, it's so much more freeing, you get what I mean. It's so much more freeing and has a lot more freedom with development and creativity that it allows us to go into a game unexpectedly going, hey, it might take me 10, it might take me 100 hours. So you never know. But anyway, guys, that's end of the show. I don't know why I'm rhyming. Hello. No, it's goodbye. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please smack the like button. Let me know what you guys think on the subject matter here. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.